Shalom, shalom. Call halal Yahweh Shem Shai by Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to my fellow Akim, laborers, the confusion of face Akim that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To the hopeful elect and the Akwaf that's listening and learning. To you I say shalom. Today's going to be a short lesson on just basic truth, man. And how, you know, you hear the Edomites come on the comment boards. I mean, when you see their comments, and they just refuse to acknowledge the written word and even books and informations that were written by their own people, printed on their own printing presses. And this truth is really hurting them, you know, and which is all you really need to do is read the scriptures and tell the truth. Do your diligent research and tell the truth. You don't need to curse them out, you know, like the thing that happened in Suriname, you know, they're young brothers, and we've all been there. I've been guilty of that. We've all been guilty of that. But, you know, there's no need to, which is why I try to push that, minimize the rude speech thing. Because you don't want to give them a reason to deflect from the message, you know. And that message seems to fall on deaf ears with some brothers, man. You know, because it's like every other word out of their mouth is, you know, is rude speech. They can't put together a sentence without using rude speech, man. All right? And it's not wicked to do so, but we're in a time where you're really going to have to calm that down to control your spirit. Real talk. Real talk. All right? Because Esau, you know, it's winding down. We're going to get shut up and silenced anyway. But Esau is looking for any reason to come at Jake. And that's one of the things that could actually help incite it. So I'm telling you, brothers need to really calm that down, man. You know, when you're on the highways and byways, you know, you don't want to incite people because agents come, you know, all the time, man, left and right. So without any further ado, now that said, I want to just jump into this this quick lesson about the Israelites being a dark flesh people, a Negroid type of people. Okay, and this is you know, you hear these. I mean, you read these comments on the comment board, and these Edomites just refuse to acknowledge truth, man. They just it's hilarious. But I'm holding a book in my hand called Egypt: History and Treasures of Ancient Egypt. Okay, and I'm going to show you the book, you know, and there it is. All right. Egypt, History and Treasures of Ancient Egypt. Ancient Egyptian Salakia, Ancient Civilization by Giorgio Ferrero. All right. I'm just going to show you a couple of images. These are images of Israelites in slavery building the bricks for the, Salakia. Start them a video.
Black.
Well, there we go with that. But let's pause that. But these are images of Israelites in slavery building the pyramids, man. All right? Okay? And if you look closely at them, you can see the braids and things in their heads. You know? You can see the appearance of woolly hair. All right, and if that's not enough for you, you can clearly see that they're not pale flesh people. Okay? Here are more images of Egyptians and Israelites alike. Okay? In this book, these are artifacts that are dug up. All right? What you don't see is pale flesh people. Now you have to remember that Moses grew up in the house of Pharaoh and blended in with these people. All right? Because they'll take history from the time of the Ptolemies when the Edomites came in to became the rulers, and then they'll use the fabricated images of them to try to say these are your Egyptians, but that's a lie. Now here are actually Israelites, goat herders. When Jacob and his family came into Egypt, you can clearly see that those are not so-called white people. All right. Cornrows, braids, brown skin. Okay. These are the relics that were found and dug up. All right. Cornrows, braids, afros, brown skin. Okay. Let's get a couple more images. All right. Because like when you watch their movies, and I mean, I could do a lesson. I've done lessons in this book. All right. And I'm going to go and sit down and present this book properly to the camera just to prove that point. I'm going to go back into it, revisit it. Images of Egyptians and rulership. Okay. They were not so-called Arabs. Because the people that are in the land of Israel right now are Ishmaelites and Edomites mainly, and a mixture thereof. And then here are the actual images of the Israelites building the pyramids. And the taskmaster over them, the Egyptian taskmaster, as they're building the pyramids and the bricks in slavery. All right, those are so-called Negroid people, man. Now let's get us a scripture to back that up. This is Lamentations, all right, because they were very much in, lamenting at that time. And this is Lamentations 4 and 8, and it says, "Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets." All right. "Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered, it is become like a stick." You saw how skinny they were because they were hungry and they were forced to work all the time. Okay. And as you can clearly see, the pharaohs, you know, it's just funny how everything's preserved, but the noses and the lips are often chipped off. But in nothing else. That's purposely done, because they're trying to hide those what you call African Hamitic features, because the Egyptians were definitely Hamitic people, dark fleshed people. There's also some relics of the Egyptian army in here, but you know, every time you watch TV, you watch the movies, you see Philistines as so-called white people. Well, here are images of the Philistine army, man, dug up, the relics. All right, here they are, page 3 in the very book. So these would be what Goliath looked like, just taller than all the rest. Okay, those are your Philistines, man. Those are the artifacts that are dug up on the site. Okay, back to that scripture when it says their visage is blacker than a coal. I'm going to put the Bible right there before you, and you can see it says their appearance. Okay, trying to get it to focus, but you can see that their visage is blacker than a coal, and it's telling you their appearance. The appearance of the Jews was the so-called black people. All right. Okay, they were also ruling, the ruling class people, all throughout the Dark Ages. That's why the Dark Ages were referred to as the Dark Ages, because dark people were ruling. The Moors ruled Portugal and Spain from about 700 AD all the way up until 1492 when they fell. All right, that's a 700-year period, man. All right, about a 700-year period, the Moors were rulers of Portugal and Spain. So all those great buildings in Florence and stuff, you know, that was all the Moors built that. All right, and had harems full of so-called white women. And they left images and children, mulattoes like this, at the bottom, if you could see them. Those are the children of people who had black fathers and white mothers. And since the Bible clearly says you are what your father is, that's what they were. These pale people are the people that they were trying to kick out of Ireland, Scotland, and England. All right, Cromwell was doing that because he knew their forefathers were these men. Why? Because they had their own harems. All right, and they made many babies with so-called white men. That's Germany and Belgium and Holland. And it even gives you the resources where these places are. All right, 13 1599 to 1641. All right. These are in different museums and things of that nature. All right. And these were 14, trying to get it to focus, 1490 to 1540. Okay? You can't get around this stuff, man. All right? You can lie and get mad and flag videos and tell lies and deflect from the truth. You know, talk about rape doctrine and all that other mess. But here's this is Ecclesiastes 10 and 8, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that's exactly how Esau came into power. All right. This is the scene from the movie Django, where they're having white cake. All right. I suppose you can only have white cake when you are white. All right. But they were doing a deal. He was about to purchase a slave. And earlier that day, he had allowed dogs to tear apart one of his Mandingo fighters, who he would make fight to the death. And he had his slave runners, all right, his overseers, release the hounds on him and send a slave named D'Artagnan to nigger heaven. Well, all heaven is for niggers, so-called idiot. All right, this character anyway, because truth be said, Leonardo DiCaprio is one of my favorite actors. And through the spirit, I truly believe, and many other brothers, he's an Israelite anyway. He's one of those so-called mulatto children left over in Italy. All right? As we just saw the images in the book. His forefathers go back to those, in Ireland. No, in Italy. Yeah, in Italy. Because they left children in Italy, all throughout Italy, the Moors did. They show you that there was that movie with Dennis Hopper when he I can't think of it now, but anyway, he gives it. Dennis Hopper gives this story to these Sicilians about how they were spawned from Moors, and we just saw the images of the Moors, which is accurate history. All right, but in this story right here, this scene, he was reflecting on how this character named D'Artagnan had just been torn apart by dogs, and he assumed, and he asked the question, I wonder what Dumas would have thought of this afternoon's events. And Leonardo DiCaprio, being a role of an ignorant slave owner who only was educated in the lies his fathers had told him, did not know that Alec Dumas was a so-called black man, and that his slave was named after a man who wrote a book during a time of period, according to white superiority, black people couldn't read, write, or anything. Okay? But yet this man wrote graphic novels. He wrote novels that are used and being made as movies to this day. The Man in the Iron Mask, the Musketeer Stories, and many, many others by Alexander Dumas. All right? And we just saw many images showing you that the so-called Negroes were people of importance during Europe before the slave thing came and changed all that. And that's another lesson within itself. But they were the original, they were the rulers of so-called Negroes were the rulers of Europe from the time of the fall of Rome, from Septimius Severus, from the time of the black emperors, the black Caesars, all right, which they don't like to talk about, but that history's there, okay? So without any further ado, let's play this clip and let Esau, it's only a few seconds, okay? So once again, because I don't want to get hit with with the copyright thing or anything like that. So this is when Leonardo is educated on the fact that his slave that he had just murdered is named after was the lead character in a book written by Alexander Dumas, who happens to be a black man, which in his ignorance he wasn't aware of. Same ignorance that we face today. Okay? The same ignorance you see on the comment board. Why? Because these Edomites, some of them know, but then the mass majority of them don't. They really think they're defending their honor and truth when they're just regurgitating lies what they've been told by their forefathers.
Soft-hearted Frenchie.
Alexandre Dumas is black.
And, right, so so Alexander Dumas was black. He informed him of that. So they even tell you in Hollywood, man. So with that, I hope this was a edifying lesson, uplifting to the Israelites out there, the scattered confusion of face included. All right. And this was a vicious and hurtful cut on anyone who is of the nation of Esau, Edom, and any of the heathens, or even our own people that support them. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai Ba'Hashem Ruach HaKodesh Wa Abba Babal.